In this next example, we will be finding the square root of 54. In order to find the square root of 54, we first need to review an important math rule, which is if we have the square root of a times b, we will get the square root of a times the square root of b, meaning that if we multiply two numbers together inside of a square root, we can then break them apart into their own individual square roots and multiply them together. If we apply this to 54, we first need to factor 54. In order to factor 54, we can use the values 9 and 5. I chose 9 and 5 because 9 is a perfect square. This perfect square will help us to simplify in the future. Now we can rewrite the square root of 54 as the square root of 9 times 5. Using the math rule we just reviewed, we can then rewrite the square root of 9 times 5 as the square root of 9 times the square root of 5. 3 times 3 equals 9, so the square root of 9 is 3. Therefore, we can rewrite the square root of 54 as 3 times the square root of 5. This is our simplified version of the square root of 54. However, if we would like to estimate the square root of 54 to the nearest integer, we can use perfect squares near 54 to evaluate. First, we can look at 7 squared, which is 49, and 8 squared, which is 64. We can then see that 54 is between 49 and 64. Therefore, we can write the following inequality. The square root of 49 is less than the square root of 54, which is less than the square root of 64. Because 7 squared equals 49, the square root of 49 will be 7. Similarly, because 8 squared equals 64, the square root of 64 will be 8. Now we have this inequality that shows us the square root of 54 is between 7 and 8. In order to find the whole number that the square root of 54 is closest to, we want to evaluate the difference between 54 and the perfect squares. We will then do 54 minus 49 to get 5, and then 64 minus 54 to get 10. We can therefore see that 54 is closer to 49. Therefore, the square root of 54 is closer to 7. Now we have our answer, which is the square root of 54 is approximated to 7.